The new operator Sens has come out, and they are, well, kinda shit, unfortunately. It's not that they're the most terrible operator in the game, it's just that there's a lot of things stacking against them. Like how every other weapon has less recoil and most do more damage too, or that Ying exists, or Glaz, or just smoke grenades in general, which aren't that amazing to begin with. Not only that though, but there is one major problem that makes Sens one of the most annoying characters to play right now, and Ubisoft needs to give some attention to this. These fucking things have hitboxes larger than my giant brain, which is fucking massive, obviously, but that's not the point. The point is trying to elaborately plan out how to use these roller walls just to have it bounce off a door frame that it wasn't touching in the first place is an aggravating nightmare. Like, what? Every time this happens to me, I lose a little bit more of the sanity I have left from playing this game. So you get the point. Sens is pretty underwhelming, and I feel like this is the least amount of the new operator I've seen being played, maybe ever. So what are some potential changes we could make to Sens to make them a little more viable? I have a couple ideas of my own that I think would be great, but first let's see what you guys in the Twitter community had to say on this. Sens is seemingly underwhelming, and already nobody is really playing them. That being said, what would you change about Sens's gadget and loadout to make them more viable? Of course, we got a ton of recoil complaints. Pretty much everyone is asking to fix the recoil at this point, but we also got some solid concepts for gadget changes. The first of which that I was a big fan of was to give the wall a concussion or damage effect when players walk through it. Maybe something similar to the Echo Drone or Elemine concussion. I extended on this to say I think it would need to be a lot of damage, like 30 to 50 HP, and affect everyone except for Sens, including the attackers. This is really strong for a lot of reasons. Now, instead of just being able to walk through it with no repercussions, it makes it a much higher risk for the player walking through. You'll have to decide whether it's worth getting disoriented or taking that damage first. This also means Sens players will still have to be calculated with it, as they don't want to be a detriment to their team. It also makes it an entirely different gadget rather than just slightly better smoke grenades, so I'm a big fan of this one. We also had a few replies that brought up the idea of making the walls louder. Similar to Gridlock's track stingers, this would cover up the sound of you pushing through on the wall, making it much more difficult for the defenders to shoot you through it or even realize where amongst the wall you might be. I think this would be an awesome way to improve Sens and make it much easier to make plays. To add to this idea, I personally think Sens should get some different weapon options. The ROUs make it super easy to take longer range areas and break them down into smaller areas for close range fights. Unfortunately, with Sens's current weapon options, it's really difficult to win these engagements when you're competing with a shotgun or an SMG with a much faster fire rate. For a new loadout, I'm suggesting Sens's 417 DMR rifle is swapped out for a primary shotgun like the SG CQB shotgun on the GIGN operators. When his AR recoil is finally fixed, this will be a great option for a primary, but then if you'd like, you could bring the shotgun and set yourself up for those close range engagements. It doesn't stop there though. You can't have a shotgun primary without a beast of a secondary SMG to support it, so we should also give Sens the SMG-12 along with it. If that's not wild enough, you might as well give them nades too, which is what a lot of people were recommending as well. The problem I have with this is it doesn't fix the actual issues Sens has, and it's more like, well, their gadget sucks, so let's just give them grenades. And I don't know, I'd rather Ubi fix the actual ability to make it more viable and more fun. Then we have the Sen Veil Special option, which is to give Sens the ability to see through their own walls. This wasn't actually a reply to my tweet, but I just wanted to talk about this because I'm sure more than just Sen have thought about it. This would be fucking insane. Firstly, I've been saying Glaz should get the AK-12 for a while now. Am I serious? No, that would be brokenly strong. Would it be fun? Hell yeah, you'd be beaming people nonstop with a thermal AK, what do you mean? Now, giving Sens the ability to see through their own ROUs is like giving Glaz an AK, but way better. Not only can you see through your smokes and absolutely plow everyone down, but you can do it with an assault rifle and nobody can shoot back except a warden, but at that point, it might be too late. So no, I don't think this is the answer unless we want a permanent Sens ban in our rank games. This next idea is to make the ROU gadget drivable, similar to a Flores drone. This would add an entirely extra dimension to controllability with it, and it sounds like a fun way to draw pictures too. However, in practice, I don't think it would be very good, and it would probably leave you too vulnerable and be too slow for playmaking. Having better control over this gadget is something I think is super important though, which is why this next idea is also a great one. A bunch of people mention this, but the concept is simple. Give Sens some sort of indicator that shows the path the ROU is going to take. They do this really well in Valorant with Raze. Raze's boombot, for those of you who don't know, drives in a straight line and bounces off walls the exact same way Sens's ROUs do. However, they have this indicator to show where the bot is going to go, and it's very straightforward to use. If Sens had something like this to show the path the ROU would take, it would make it much easier to avoid this hitbox problem and actually understand what is going to happen to your gadget. Kind of like 8-ball pool on easy mode. You see where you're lined up and you know where it's going to go. So that was the majority of the feedback I got, which I think is amazing. Some of, or even any of these changes I would personally like to see, but my personal proposal for changing Sens nobody mentioned. So let's talk about that. What I think Ubisoft should do is make it so the ROU projector wall attaches to the first wall or door frame it comes into contact with and roll in a straight line from there, bouncing off whatever it runs into after that point. This way it works kind of like a magnet and then unattaches itself to go in a useful straight line every time. The problem right now is most of the ROUs you throw have one of two problems, or both. The first being that there's a gap in the light wall when you throw it and it isn't actually achieving its purpose. The enemy gets a glimpse of you through the gap and then can just beam your ass through the light wall. The second problem is that most of the lineups you actually want to achieve are just impossible unless you expose yourself to the entire room with a very high chance of getting shot in the face while doing it. The usefulness of these walls comes from the ability to cut a sightline in half, but you can't do it without exposing yourself a lot of the time. Like if you were in the bar hallway on Villa and wanted to block off Vault along with the rotate, you would have to cross the doorway, exposing yourself to both, or you're already on the other side and you're exposing yourself to bar. If you're trying to push into bar, you're exposing yourself to bar by being on the left side of the door to throw your ROU. Whichever side you're trying to push, you're forced to actively expose yourself to it while you're throwing your ROU. It's just fucking crazy. However, with my proposed changes, you could just throw your ROU at the left side door frame and it would roll in a straight line across the bomb site, blocking off both. So when you roll it off the door frame, basically it would come off in a perpendicular line to the way the wall's going. You could do this safely and then push in to fight the bar player and get control. This would be fucking crazy and something I think a lot of people hope Sens would be capable of, but it's just not the case right now. An alternative you can do in this situation is that you can bounce it off the hallway wall and try to cut the site in half, but it's hard. And on most doorways, you don't have a wall to bounce it off of, so it's not even possible. I think this mechanic would be much simpler for using Sens and make the gameplay much more enjoyable with the Gadget. Let me know what your thoughts on this are in the comments. So ideally, what should the Sens changes look like? Firstly, something needs to change with that loadout. The current weapons are just bad compared to most, and the secondary utility is some of the worst for the attackers right now. The Gadget doesn't work as well as it should, and some sort of pre-throw guide or change to the mechanics would make the gameplay more smooth and more fun. Bonus this up with a little damage for walking through those walls, and all of a sudden Sens is not only really good, but the meta shifts a little bit and the game might even become a little more fun. Siege for life, baby. Siege for life.